So we're back, my friends, and we're in the process of drinking my coffee. So this is the part 2 of the video I promised you in reference to stopping the spread of COVID-19 in the city of Toronto and the province of Ontario from Toronto mayoral candidate Kevin Clark and the Ontario People's Political Party and our interim leader, Mr. Troy J. Young. People seem to misinterpret, a lot of people who do not believe in COVID-19. They misinterpret because it's not they do not believe that the coronavirus exists. It's that they do not believe what Mr. Ford and Mr. Tory is telling them. We hear from Mr. Tory every single day and Mr. Ford, but what we're hearing about is economy. What we are hearing about is the movements of people and about lockdowns. But we are not hearing what Mr. Tory and Mr. Ford is doing to address the real issue. And the real issue is the coronavirus and the spread of the coronavirus. Now, I have been a very blessed person, and all things have come through me, through the grace of God Almighty. So this situation has came through my hands. And I believe this situation will lead us to a solution in stopping the spread of COVID-19 in the city of Toronto and the province of Ontario. But for there to be a solution, we need cooperation from Mayor John Tory and Premier Doug Ford. They must cooperate with the people. They must be transparent. And they must see that there is accountability. Not just tell us this is what our experts recommended, because even experts are wrong. Depending on the qualifications, they have to be experts. And we know that there is not anyone out there who is a true expert on the coronavirus, because the virus only really came to light a year ago. And an expert normally takes 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So do not tell me you're a coronavirus expert on something that just came about a year ago. That does not make common sense. So let's get into the real issue. Yesterday, I received information that a homeless individual that I have been assisting for years trying to get housing has tested positive for COVID-19. I know that homeless individual as a girlfriend. And I know that that girlfriend who is homeless yet is paying rent at a location and also have a housing worker who should be aware that they are receiving rent, but yet this housing worker approves all different types of benefits for this individual, even though they are not entitled to these benefits. This homeless individual now is staying in family res. Do you know what family res is? Family res is a homeless shelter for families. But it's a residence where you can come and go, it seems. Because at 2:30 this morning, you will see a videotape that I videotaped of this homeless individual knocking my door. So if you are staying in family res, a homeless shelter, and there's a corona pandemic, what are they doing knocking my door at 2:30 in the morning? We will address this issue at a later date. For this video, the individuals we're speaking about will be now known as A, and they will be known as M for these videos. In my email to the mayor and the premier and to the public health and to the media, I will divulge their names because we cannot find a solution unless we are able to track those. But for this video, we will not do that. So there's A and M. A is an individual I have known for over 30 years. A used to work for me when I had a small business as one of my drivers. A had his first child at my business. So now A is in a relationship with B, but A denies that there's a relationship. It's a friendship, he says, with benefits. Now A goes to a mall, which is at Morningside and Kingston Road. A has been in this area for over 30 years. A is well known in the community, and A is in interaction with a large percentage of the community. There's 3 housing complex. There is 4205 Lawrence, there's 4175 Lawrence, and there's 4301 Kingston Road. There are 3 Toronto community housing buildings. A frequent those buildings and know a lot of people in those 3 buildings. I will not get into the lifestyle of A. You can infer it through the videos. So M collects more money on ODSP than I do, yet M is homeless. M also pays rent, and M has numerous social workers, and they all should have been aware of this. But yet, M came and knocked on my door a few days ago, and M informed me that they just got a place at family residence. So you've got the story so far. M now is in family residence. A was arrested in October, and A was arrested by a security guard. So this security guard has been in contact with A. When A was arrested, this security guard passed A over to officers from 43 Division Police Station. So now we have a security guard that we must look out for, and they must be tested or they must be quarantined because they have been in contact with A. We have the officers who transported A from the scene of the incident to the police station. These officers, we have to ensure that they were wearing a mask, they were wearing a glove, but they also have to be quarantined, and they also have to be tested. When A went to the police station, officers did not know that A was positive for the coronavirus. That is why, for us to track the spread of the virus, we have to go through all the individuals that A has been in contact with before A became aware that he was positive. So the person who takes A in to do fingerprints, they must also be tested. So we have 1 security guard who arrested A, or it could have been 2. We do not know which security guards arrested him. We have the officers that transported A to the station. We have those who did fingerprints, and anyone who came in contact with A. And 43 Division Police Station should have that record. A was then transported from there to a jail. I guess he spent the night or the night after, and then A had to have gone to court. So those court officers who came in contact with A, and court records and court security should have that, they would have to be quarantined and tested. Because if these individuals came in contact with A before they were aware that A, the homeless individual, was positive for the coronavirus, then the only way to stop the spread is for us to deal with those individuals who came in contact with A. So Premier Ford and Mayor Tory should not be on TV each day telling us about what regulations there is and what economy turmoil there is. They should be focused in seeing that we track these individuals who have came in contact with people who have tested positive for COVID-19 after their contact. And that is the only way we will stop the spread. And that is to address the issue of the virus, not the economy and the lockdowns or the crisis that has been created. So now A ends up in a jail. A is tested for the virus, and A came back positive, and A was quarantined by the jail. So there is part A, part one. So right there, we know that there's the stop of the virus. We know that A was quarantined by the jail, so we are not concerned with the movements of A after he was released from jail, except for one reason. And that reason we are coming to in a few seconds, why we should be concerned of the movements of A after he has been released from jail due to negligence by those who were addressing the spread of the coronavirus. And that negligence have to fall on the premier and the mayor, because they're the ones who should have been given directions for those who have been tested positive and how we track the trace of those they have been in contact with. And that has not been addressed clearly by Mayor Tory and Premier Ford, because their focus has been on making tic-tac videos. Their focus has been on press conference. Their focus has been on dictating to the public what to do rather than doing what they're supposed to do, which is to track the spread of the coronavirus and to stop the spread. So we have now security guard, the officers from 43 Division, and the court guards who were in contact with A before A became aware that he was positive for the virus. So to stop the spread, these people who would have came in contact with A, these individuals now must be quarantined and be tested if the coronavirus is really a threat to the people of the City of Toronto and the province of Ontario, and if it is real, according to the standards of the medical officers of the City of Toronto and the province of Ontario, then there is no way that the Premier and the Mayor cannot or can justify any other lockdowns unless they see that those who were in contact with A have been tested. Now, those who are naysayers and who don't want a solution will say, oh, but we've got thousands of cases of positive tests. But we do not have the positive test to where we can track the movements of those individuals who have been tested positive. But in this case, remember I told you, everything I bring you will have supporting document and evidence that cannot be disputed. And it cannot be disputed that A has been in contact with those security officers, that A has been in contact with these police officers, that A has been in a jail cell at 43 Division Police Station, A went to court, and that A was tested positive, and that A was quarantined. So if we are serious, and if there is a threat of the coronavirus, then we will address the movements of A before we knew he was tested positive to stop the contact spread. So we have the security guards from Kingston Rd and Lawrence, the Morningside Mall there, those security guards that arrested A because they did not know A was positive for the coronavirus at the time of the arrest, they must be addressed by quarantine, or they must be addressed by being tested to confirm that they did not receive the virus from A. Those officers who transported A to 43 Division police stations, they have to be tested and they have to be quarantined if they test positive, because when they were transporting A, they were not aware that A was positive for the coronavirus, because A was not aware of that until he went to the jails. And the cell that A was occupying, all individuals who were housed in those cells, they have to be tracked. And the fact that they were in police custody, we do know how to reach these individuals, so they have to be tracked, quarantined, or get tested. And that is the timeline of stopping the spread. Because if A was positive and he infected these security guards, he infected the police officers who transported him and other inmates who used the same cell, then naturally our numbers are going to escalate because nothing has been done to combat the spread. Now here is where our second issue gets real difficult. We know that the security guards who arrested A, we know that the officers who were involved, we know that the cells, that anyone who has been in that cell, and we know that the security guards who transported A in the court, we know that those individuals, and we can be assured that in the jails, they have taken all the proper precautions. So we don't have to be concerned about the time that A went to jail, because when he went to jail, this is when they found out he was positive. But yet A was released out of custody after he was isolated in the jail for 14 days. The city of Toronto, in turn, gave A hotel room. Now, this is disturbing because of the fact that hotels, people come and go every single day. So if the city was giving housing to a homeless individual and it was A, who is somebody who has tested positive for the coronavirus, it should have been in a housing complex to where we know that those tenants and those people who are going through that housing complex can be tracked or can be traced if there was contact with the virus. That wasn't done. We can't do nothing about that right now because this is where it is. So A is in a hotel room. The problem arises that A has a relationship with his girlfriend. And A, as you can see from the video from 2:30 this morning, was down the hall and was in contact with his girlfriend. So A was in contact with his girlfriend also before he knew he was positive. So now A came out, and now his girlfriend was not traced, and she was not tested. And she is now in family res, a family residence for homeless families. So I will be forwarding this information to family res also. And in turn, M now must be tested or quarantined. Because if we do not test M now, whose boyfriend A was tested positive, and if we do not trace the contacts, we already traced the contacts of A. So we know now that we can stop the spread through those methods, through contact tracing. But now we must address the issue of M. Who has M been in contact with after or before she became aware that A was positive? And now, since A was positive, A needs to be retested because A has been in contact with his girlfriend, M, who has not been tested. And if M had the virus, can M now transmit the virus back to A? And can A now test positive again the second time? But we're going to deal with today, and our focus is to get the information to the police division, and I will get these tapes together, and I will send it to the police division, and to get the information to family res, so that we can prevent the movements of M until M has been tested or quarantined to protect the other residents of family res. These are the issues we're going to be addressing today. I will be forwarding this information to Mayor Ford and Premier Tory. And if Mayor Ford and Premier Tory does not take leadership in seeing that we follow the contact traces of A and M and prevent the spread of the virus in this general area where A and M is known to frequent consistently, then naturally you will know that Premier Ford and Mayor Tory are not looking to combat the spread of the coronavirus. They have alternative motives. God is with us. I'm Kevin Clark. I am the interim leader of the Ontario People's Political Party, currently the deputy leader. Mr. Troy J. Young is handling as the interim leader of the party until my health returns, and I am your front runner for the race for Toronto Mayor. Because I do not talk about it, I bring solution to it. So we are going to bring a solution to the spread of the coronavirus in the city of Toronto and the province of Ontario. God is with us.